friends. Good morning. Happy Monday and welcome to Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk is brought to you by the Regal Company, and I'd like to introduce you to my co-host. This is Laura Giacomelli Hankowski, and I say it every time, and I get better at it every time.
Yes, you do. Agreed. How are you, Ray?
Excellent. How's it going for you?
Good. It's really good. So, small world. I was in your neck of the woods this weekend.
Salem.
I was in Salem. Yeah. And I was like, of course, the one weekend that I'm here, you're not here. I'm like, what is that?
What did you think of Salem?
Well, we went there Wednesday, and the difference from Wednesday and Thursday to Saturday, oh my gosh, the amount of people. That it was like Times Square. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like crazy, shoulder to shoulder. It was so much fun, though. It was like a bucket list thing. So it was so much fun.
I want to tell you, everybody says they want to go to Salem during Halloween, which I get. I've done it one time, would never, ever do it again.
Yeah, I think it's like a one and done, to be honest. We did like a bunch of tours. I feel like I know the gist of it now, but I'm happy that I went, especially during Halloween, because I think it, like you're saying, it makes it like a little bit, I don't know, more in the season.
You got it. You got it. And how many witches actually died? Did you come home with that information?
I think that there were 20 that were, now that I'm 9?
I think that there were only 2, but 20 accused.
Accused. Right. Yeah.
People don't know that. So that was a little history here on Dance Coffee Talk.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, though. How was your weekend, though? You had an exciting weekend as well. You were traveling.
I traveled last week to LA for the Industry Dance Awards, which is a benefit for a group called Dancers Against Cancer. I'm a dancer against cancer. I serve on the board for the organization. And I got to tell you, every time I go, I'm like, how cool is this? And this is why, because everybody comes together, all these different conventions and competitions. And there are awards presented for the highest scoring or most liked numbers from all of these different events. But it's really a celebration, getting together to raise money for kids and dance teachers and people in need who are struggling. And, last count that I can remember, and this was a while ago, was over $2 million.
Wow.
And I don't know, every time I go, I come back, I just feel like I love our community and what we can do with it.
Yeah.
If we're thinking about it the right way.
Yeah. Good and people. Michelle was there too. She's a huge part of that organization as well, who was just on Coffee Talk 2 weeks ago with us.
Yes, she was. And she's a huge supporter, goes above and beyond. But here, this was so cool. Shirley MacLaine receives the Lifetime Achievement Award. And Shirley MacLaine was like my mother's idol. My mother went to see her anytime she could. Shirley MacLaine ran this like meditation thing where you found out about your next life and your past lives and did all of this stuff. And my mother followed her to all of those things. She's about to turn 90. She gave a speech. It was just so cool. I'm like starstruck by her, and I don't get starstruck.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
So on today's show, first of all, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where you from? Maybe ask some questions, comments. Feel free. Okay, so in life, especially when we're younger, we look up to people and we say, someday we're gonna be like those people. And in dance, there's many of those people for younger people to look up to. Our guests today, Brian and Faye Foley, are those people for me. I hear something happening here. Oop, went away.
Anyway,
Those people are, or two of those people are my two guests today. And I'm so excited to have them with us. I am going to see you on the other side where we will welcome Brian and Faye Foley. And we're back. Welcome, everybody. This is Coffee Talk. And I have two special guests along with Laura. Brian and Faye Foley, welcome.
Hey, Reed.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. Hello,
Thank
Laura.
thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. It's
Great
a pleasure.
to do this. Very, very interesting to come to you and find out all about this coffee talk.
You know, technology is wonderful.
That's right.
Oh,
When it
not
works.
only is technology when it works, that was a good point right there.
Yep.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna start off with this. I'm 7, maybe 8. Like you said earlier, we were talking down in the basement of my mother's studio in Randolph, Mass. And you made an impact. Your words encouraged, your funniness, your support. And I felt that way about the two of you my whole life. And I want to start that off with this.
Well, thank you, Rhea. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much.
I remember, I don't know whether Faye remembers that basement studio
do.
when you were 7 or 8 years old. I can tell you that I remember it very clearly because as you get older, you always seem to remember things in the past, but you never remember things yesterday. But I can tell you this, what I loved about that lesson that we had in that basement is you and your brother doing me and my shadow. Neither of you wanted to be the shadow. Neither of you knew the choreography, but each of you were absolutely correct in the choreography. And I really found that how humorous it was in working with two twins, right? On this me and my shadow. We had so much fun. And from that day with you and your brother and certainly your mom, because Faye and I love Sherry, look at what's gone through our life together. It's been wonderful. Dance is an amazing world.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
two
it sure is.
were just amazing. I mean, to think that the two brothers could be so different in ways, but yet so alike in ways as well.
Mm.
And the fun that we had and the laughs that we had. I mean, I remember those. I wish we could have those even now.
And you know what, Miss Laura, in this day and age, unfortunately, because of the way society has driven some of our dance education realities, you never walk into a basement dance studio anymore. Not only that, but you never have that family unity in dance as much anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, really, we are really blessed. I mean, Rhea is blessed as well because his mom was a dancing teacher, and not only was a dancing teacher, was one of the most recognized dancing teachers in the USA. But more importantly, it remained in the family. And Faye and I, of course, Rhea, as you know, are very blessed because dance in our world has also remained in the family. You know, our studio is now it's in its 3rd generation.
Wow.
So it's your granddaughter and her husband, Ryan.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ashley and
Ashley
Ryan.
and Ryan now run the studio and have done for how many? Over 10
Many
years.
Yeah, because Debbie and Danny got very involved with the competition, and
Yeah.
and of course it's really, really interesting. We're not involved as far as the dynamics of the studio running industry is concerned, but of course we love sitting back and looking down this very long tunnel to the light at the end, wondering what's next for them. And they're in the middle now, next week, of opening their third branch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Third studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it opened yesterday.
Oh,
Hey.
congratulations. Wow.
I'm loving it. I'm getting all kinds of interesting things from we're the fourth generation and third generation.
I was looking at that. I think that's so cool. I want to say that I'm taking you back 70s. Studio in the city.
Western
Our-
Road in Eglinton.
Say that again.
Western Road in Eglinton.
That was it. And we slept in your basement, our dance company, for a week.
I remember we had workshops. You guys rehearsed. You performed. It was such a good time.
Yeah. It was always a big deal when you guys came to Toronto, and a big deal when we went down there. And it was just, I don't know, it was just something to, every time I went, I came back thinking, oh, there were so many new things that you guys were doing that were new to me. And I just was so anxious to get back and to show our students some of the things that you guys showed us, which was great.
But you know, Ree and Laura, and for all the viewers, in the 70s, small dance companies, and I'm even going back to Mia's dance company, me, Michael's dance company, your companies, Ree, they all slept on studio floors in order to be able to rehearse or to get ready for a performance. And nowadays, dance companies want us to stay at the Fairmont.
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't work that way, you know?
You know, Ree, I was the first one. Brian had sort of gone out of the competition life. And I was the first one to take one of our groups, our senior group, of course, down to DMA to compete.
In New York, your mom was there.
Yes,
in New
your mom
York.
was there. And I didn't realize, well, I did, I guess, but I'm thinking now it wasn't in my head that much, that everything danced against each other. It wasn't just jazz, tap, and ballet. It was everything competing against
all
everything.
genres.
My first
Yes.
time, I felt I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And, you know, Brian's always been my support. I mean, really, everywhere that I've always gone, he was always there, but this time he wasn't. But anyways, I was sitting with your mother in the audience up in the balcony, and we were doing the rehearsal. And our group, we always had an introduction before the kids would run out, very small, maybe 8 counts or 16 counts. And they stopped me and they said to me, you cannot take up that much time to get on stage. And I thought, oh my God, now what do I do? Oh my God. So we run back to the hotel and we get the kids in the hallway and we're putting in a new entrance so we wouldn't be disqualified. So anyways, now we're into the competition. And your mother sat beside me, and we had 3 boys in the number and I think 12 girls. And it was Starlight something.
No, Venus.
Venus, yeah. Anyway, she said to me before the number was over, you're going to win this. I said, oh my God. And my even right sitting here, my goosebumps are crawling in my head right now.
Yeah.
I said, Sherry, oh my God, don't say that. You know, because there was Joseph Jacoby, there was
Fred Connect.
Fred Connect and Bev and you guys.
Including Sherry had a number in.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Sherry's sitting beside Faye saying, you're going to win this.
And that was year 1979. And I got a plaque about this high. And I've said to you know, we had it in the studio. And then when the studio changed over and Danny and Lisa took over the studio after Brian and I were doing more Stampede and all the other things he was doing, I said to Danny, don't you ever lose that plaque. It's the first one we've ever won, and the first one that from America. And for today, it's still up in the studio.
So
That's
Miss Laura,
amazing.
Yeah.
so Miss Laura and everyone watching, Faye Foley was the first Canadian dance teacher to actually ever win the overall performing arts in
Yeah.
America for
Wow.
national.
I don't think anybody really knows that. I mean, it was a way back, you know, 79. Can you think about that? 79?
It doesn't matter anymore, but it's great to remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic. You should bring that to your house. I would want that at my home. I would want to be like, I did that.
Well, I've warned them all, don't get rid of that plaque. I'll be very, very annoyed. But anyways, yeah, they're doing quite nicely. And they've done a great job carrying on sort of the legacy that Brian and I started. You know, the thing for me was you can only dance two ways, right and wrong. And they're doing it right.
You're laughing.
How did you two meet?
Well, I'm a little bit older than Mr. Foley, and we actually grew up at the same dance studio, Louise Burns, downtown Toronto. I went to a small studio before that, and when that teacher decided to retire, she sent me to Louise Burns. And that's where Brian was, and of course he is 6 years younger than me. So I was more
5.5.
I was more, I walked into that studio not knowing what the hell. I thought I was a really good dancer. And then when I found out that I wasn't, I was just one of the ordinary group. I thought, I got to get going here.
However, I want to say one thing about that. Faye became an assistant teacher at the Louise Burns School of Dance, which at that time was a very prominent studio in downtown Toronto. Was right like in downtown Toronto. And I can remember clearly a couple of times in class that Faye, actually, Goodwin at that time, that was her maiden name, actually had the audacity to kick me out of class. Probably because I was being a smartass.
Well, he could never stand still. I'm telling you, he would never stand still, and he would never shut up. He had so much to talk about.
Hey, anyway.
So, and with me, I was 16, he was 10. Now, whoever looks any more than just teaching to a 10-year-old, right? Then, of course, we split our ways, and he went somewhere else. He did all his things that grew him into what he is today and even more. And I got married and had 2 children. And one day I was walking along, I was driving home from my mother's house to my house, and I passed Weston Road in Eglinton, where you were, Ree. And there was this big sign, Brian Foley Studios. I almost passed out. I thought, this can't be Brian Foley that I know. So anyways, I thought the next day I'm going to go in, and I did. And he said to me, why don't you come and take class? Class, oh my God. So anyways, I did. I didn't tell my husband I was going because he wasn't too happy about that. But anyways, I went, and we were doing plies at the bar, and he was helping me go down and come back up. And in that moment of down and up, he says to me, would you like to teach for me? And I thought, oh my God. So I came into class. I came into the studio maybe the next day to watch one of his classes that I was supposed to teach. And I thought, I can never do this. They were doing things I didn't know. I didn't know what they called. And I thought, oh my God, how can I ever do this? But it worked.
And she fell in love with my Hitchy-Coo step. And the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history, honestly. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was very lucky. That day I walked into that studio, my whole life changed.
No, I was a lucky one.
Well, anyways, here we are today.
Here we are today, Reed.
Celebrating 50
That's how we
years.
originally met.
And that's the truth. Unfortunately, I'm still 6 years older than him. Caught up. I kept waiting for him to get caught up, but he didn't do it.
And you guys are going to be celebrating an anniversary, you said 50 years in May.
50 years in May.
We are 50 years next May is our, it's very interesting. We have a lot of really good dance teacher friends that we've met over the years. A lot of them have been longtime friends, like the Josephs and the Fred Connects, who stayed happily married their entire life. Unfortunately, both my buddies have lost their wives now, but they stayed happily married for all of their life. And Faye and I, we found a way of being involved in dance together as well and making it work for us in all of our ventures and all of our journeys together. So, I have to thank my career in dance for that's happened, because it could have been another industry or another way of life. But when you think about the complexities that dance teachers live through, because being a good dance teacher is not a job, it's a way of life. We all know that. And so for Faye and I, it became a way of life together. And that's one of the reasons why it's been so, I think, successful.
Yeah.
what can I say? It's all great.
It's
It
incredible.
was hard. Stepping into Brian Foley's footsteps was not easy for me. I mean, really, it was very difficult to prove myself, and it took me a long time. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be today. Honestly, couldn't have anything better.
Okay, wait, I want to share something with you.
Yes,
You remember Marcia Aller?
I
Yes.
absolutely do. Marcia,
Oh my
God
gosh!
bless you. How are you? I hope you're well.
And here is Kathy Greco.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow!
Okay, guys. So we've all been around the block together. Isn't that fantastic?
That's really fantastic.
I know. Hey, Ree, like those go back to the days where we all wore the spandex jazz pants.
Yes, Lycra. I've said this on the show once. I once did a convention and I was wearing a pair of sweatpants, and the woman who was running the convention called me over to the edge of the stage and she says, I don't pay you to wear sweatpants. I pay you to wear those Lycra pants.
Well, there
my
you
gosh, really? Oh wow, that's
go.
something.
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
Hey, Laura, that's how Faye and I actually met in the very beginning. And, our journey together has been a really, really wonderful journey. So often when I'm having a chit chat or we're being interviewed, people say, would you do anything different? And I absolutely would not do anything different. I mean, it's been a wonderful journey. The journey is not over yet, but I think it's really, you and I have talked about this before. You get to a stage where life is like a show. It has an opening, it has a middle, and it has a closing. And your show is not a dress rehearsal. It's the real thing. So you should enjoy the show as much as you can. And I think for Faye and I, we both recognize that, we're now in the latter part of the journey. So we're just trying to enjoy as much of that past, present, and what we've got left in the future. That's exactly what we live for. And we're really enjoying it. Dance has been good to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The industry's been good to us.
And our whole family, pretty much our whole family is involved. Ashley, who's now running the studio, the main studio, her husband was not a dancer, but very smart businessman. And he's the one that's actually running the business. And Ashley and her teachers.
Yeah, we're very proud of that as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ree, go ahead.
No, tell the audience about Dance Associates.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so some of you in the audience may remember Dance Associates, but at one time when I was doing a lot of American conventions, basically DMA, DEA in those days did a lot of major conventions. Olympus, Dance Olympus did a lot of conventions. But there was 5 main teachers that always were on the circuit. There was fortunately myself, Sherry Gold, Bev Fletcher, Fred Connect, and Joseph Jacoby from New Orleans. And whenever we got together on conventions, we would love being together for that weekend. But we all realized that we could never be together enough as a group. So we got together and decided to create this little organization called Dance Associates, which was the 5 dance teachers. And the whole dream was we would play in 5 cities. We would play in Philadelphia at Connects. We would play in Toronto at Foley's. We would play in New Orleans at Joseph's. We'd play in Boston at Sherry's, and we'd go to Buffalo or Niagara Falls and do it at Beverly Studio. And we had these 5 gigs every year. But the most important part of the gigs is the fact that we were always able to get together. And we taught for 2 days, on the Saturday and Sunday. We split the classes, but we had an absolute blast, including we took Dance Associates to London.
I remember.
And then we went to Vienna for a week with all the teachers. There was like 45 or 48 teachers. We wanted to do it originally as a cruise, but at that particular time, cruises were not offering that kind of an outlet. So anyway, we did that. So that's how Dance Associates started. But I have to tell you this really wonderful story. We were going down to Bingham, New York, right? Bingham, New York for Dance Associates. And of course, it's right in the middle of frickin' winter. And you know what that's like in New York State in the winter. So Beverly and I decided that we would meet at the Buffalo airport and we would fly a short jaunt down to Bingham or Binghamton, thank you. So anyway, there was this horrendous snowstorm. I drove through sleet and hail and snow, and I finally get to the Buffalo airport, and I walk in to meet Beverly, and the flippin' flight is canceled. So now we're wondering, what are we going to do? Because now we got to get to Binghamton. We got to this workshop. We've got all the other associates meeting us. So Beverly decides it would be a great idea to rent a cab to drive us from the Buffalo airport to Binghamton, right? So not only do we rent a cab, she decides it would be a good thing to offer another guy who had to get there, a businessman, to share our cab so that we would be, it would be less expensive. So anyway, here's the three of us.
Oh my God.
Beverly and I in the back seat, the other dude in the front seat. The cab driver's taking us to Binghamton, but we had to stop at a variety store to pick up cheese, crackers, and a couple of bottles of wine to have a little party in the cab. Well, we finally did get to Binghamton. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning through all the snowstorm. But I will always remember that wonderful moment, sharing time with Beverly Fletcher in the back of a cab, going to a Dance Associates meeting.
She was a dream. She was an absolute dream.
She was the best. I wish everybody could have a chance to know Beverly Fletcher. Listen,
Absolutely. And not only that, people, but you have to understand she traveled with a huge duffel bag of pots and pans because she prepared all her own food every morning in the hotel room.
Always on the time.
and there were 25 people sleeping in her hotel room. And
Anyway,
one time I walk into her room and I'm like, where's Beverly? All these people are around. They go, she's in the closet. She's asleep on the floor of this closet.
No, I know.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so we did Dance Associates for that
Wait, what?
that
5
yeah
years?
for quite a
years?
while, and it was one of our more joyous times to be able to spend that kind of time together. So that's how Dance Associates got going.
We talked to Fred. Brian and Fred talk quite a bit now. They phone each other and keep in touch.
Yeah, for those of you who remember Fred Connect, he's doing well. He lives in the Philadelphia area, Miss Laura, as I'm sure you know. So Fred and I talk to each other once every couple of weeks, and I felt it was really great to know that he's feeling well. Joseph as well, but of course, Fred misses Joanne and Joseph misses Gwendell. Of course, it's all that part of our life, right? Mm-hmm. But they're doing well. Yeah, they're doing great. And of course, unfortunately, Sherry and Bev have gone. They're teaching the angels upstairs how to Hichiku step.
Yeah.
Oh, and I know they're doing a great job. There's probably been several productions created by them.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about what's the good things that you see out there in the dance world, dance education field today? The good, and then I'm going to ask you the other question.
I hope a lot of our guests don't leave. You know what? Look, there is no industry more glorifying, more self-reward, more purpose of life than what we offer kids, teaching them to dance, because dance lessons are life lessons, and what we give every child we touch every day, whether we teach them once a week or 5 times a week, it doesn't matter. The fact is we are making every child we touch become better citizens of the future. There is absolutely no doubt about that. That's been one of my great passions in wanting to teach dancing, because of the life lesson values that we dance teachers offer. But there's 2 things that I feel are really becoming problematic in today's society of dancery. You and I think we talked about this once before a couple of years ago. And that is, in order for dance teachers to maintain the quality of work, to maintain the quality of technique, to continue building winning numbers, to make every student become the best they can individually be, there has to be the understanding that that student is going to have to learn how to accept demand. In other words, how to accept criticism, how to accept corrections, and need to know that a teacher pushes them not because they are unhappy with them. They push them because they have the passion to make them better. In this day and age, how many teachers get phone calls saying, my daughter said that you were really, you were mean to her or working too hard, or she's
Yelled
not
at
having
her.
fun, you yelled at her, she's not having fun anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So that is one of the issues that we as dance educators are navigating right now. How to make students become the best they can be without bending the bar of what society allows. God forbid, I have no idea how a coach is going to create a gold medal Olympian without being able to put demand and push them to their eliteness in order to be successful. That's the first thing, Ree. The other thing, Ree, in my mind, teachers have to be more careful generally in how they're going to choose goal-setting opportunities for their children in their studios. Because, you know, competition is not the only goal-setting opportunity. Exams are not the only goal-setting opportunity. And Faye and I talk about this all the time. We are buried with one or two main goal setters, and that's to go to competition and try and get that diamond award or platinum award or high gold, which, by the way, 99% of the children all get the high gold anyway. Or they haven't got time to push them for an exam and push them for competition and get ready for the Christmas show and prepare for the year-end recital, et cetera, et cetera. So I think in this day and age in our society, we as dance educators have to now look at the opportunity of being not only more creative in what we select for our children to be involved in during their dance training, but also to never, ever forget that technique never grows old. Without technique, you ain't got a dancer.
A lot
Absolutely.
of teachers nowadays, younger teachers that are now taking over from some of the older teachers like us, they don't want to take the time to actually teach them how to make the movement work. All they want to do is do the movement. So therefore, some younger teachers will teach the wrong way of getting that movement looking the way it's supposed to look.
I've had so many teachers say to me, oh, but I want my studio to be really current. I want it to be new and current. And I keep saying, but hold on. Technique never grows old.
That's right.
It's always there. And, you know, so often, and I know all the dance teachers that are online right now with us will agree with me, during the pandemic world, a lot of studios in Canada lost their 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old population in their studios. Those recreational kids that helped to pay the buck, they lost them. Even as a hip hop student, they lost them because parents were saying, oh, my daughter's been watching hip hop on YouTube for the last year and a half. She already knows how to do hip hop. And they never really realized that it's not just doing the hip hop. It's what those life lessons are, getting those asses back into the classes.
Right.
We have to sell that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and teachers want their younger to have fun. And there is a certain time during when students start to dance at 3 or 2 or 3 or 4, that they have fun. That's their fun area up until, I don't know, maybe 8 and 9. But at one point in their dance training, it has to change to successful fun.
Serious fun.
You're not just dancing. You are now you know the people that are going to have success in their dancing.
Yeah.
But it has to come to a point when they know now we have to get more serious.
And, you know, it's interesting. I know that all teachers that are passionate to teach dance, they understand that when a parent makes quality investment, they also have to have a quality return for that investment. And that return, of course, is being able to show the world what that child has learned. That's a very important part of our responsibility as an educator. But very often, today's society, the way parents look at it, some of the parents' outlook, some of the things the kids are allowed to do and not to do. You know, you go to school and never fail. You go to high school and never fail. You never take a setback. We need to teach our young children that getting a correction is an honor. It is an honor to be corrected.
You teach them not what they always want. You teach them
What
what
they
they
need.
always need.
Absolutely.
And they can't get that separated.
You know, it's a privilege to have a correction from your dancing teacher.
Right.
So I encourage all teachers starting at the age of 5, 6, and 7 to teach your children that it is a privilege when I correct you. And when I give a correction to Mary, that correction is for all 12 of you in my classroom.
Yes, and I think that's lost too. That's something that I'm finding with my classroom. I have about 55, 60 classes I run a week, and I'm obviously not teaching all of them. I teach about 8, which is still a lot as a studio owner. But what I'm finding is if I'm giving a one-on-one correction to Susie, this one's over here talking and this one's talking, that one's to get on her phone. I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on. Hold on. Like, you need to look at your body during this time and say, have that much self-awareness. Am I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Can I put that note into my body?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's not, I think our generation right now is a little different. And I do think it's like a whole phone social media thing for sure. It's that instant gratification. Oh, she's not talking to me, so I don't have to worry about it, you know? And it's like, no, you can take from her note. You can take from my note. You can look at your body and see what your body's doing. And I will say too, from the younger teacher's perspective, I think that a lot of them, from what I'm seeing, I'm in my 13th season as my studio owner. And I think it's a lot of assuming that the kids know how to do a proper PK before we're doing single PK turns, but can they do a proper PK balance and hold it, right? It's like there's like that assumption as a young teacher, well, they're 8 and they should be able to do that. Yes, but you have to make sure they are doing that, right? Before we start building those blocks and progressing forward and moving forward. I think a lot of what I'm seeing with the younger generation coming in, it's they're missing those steps a little bit. They think by the time they're 9, they should know it. And I'm like, but you have to really watch them. Do they know it? Should that be in their dance? Are you doing it consistently every single week with them going across the floor? Like, I think that's things that are missing with some younger teachers that I found as a studio owner and being in like the industry. And now I kind of pull myself back. I'm like, am I assuming that these parents know what this means? Am I assuming that, right? Like, you kind of have to see, like, if you're doing it too and have self-awareness.
And you know, Miss Laura, it's also very important that a faculty at any studio are all on the same page with those so-called needs of demand and or needs of technique as well. Mm-hmm. So that the standard of the studio in all genres is equally strong, not just strong, say, on a jazz genre, and not as strong in other areas. So what you're saying, you're absolutely right. And I think sometimes faculty members assume the other teacher made that correction in her class.
I like this comment that's on the underneath here, that they want tricks before even learning the steps to get
Erin.
there.
Absolutely.
Right? That's what I was talking about, when you have to learn underneath stuff
to
make it better.
But you know, Ree and Miss Laura and teachers, all of these particular discussions that we talk about in what we are allowed to do, not allowed to do, allowed to say, not allowed to say, of course we have to approach those constrictions professionally. But the bottom line is, Ree, it still never, ever kills the passion of wanting to do it. In other words, the flame never goes out. Doesn't matter what society, what the restrictions are, the flame to make a difference never goes out. That's why we dance educators are so flippin' special. Mm.
No, you hit that right on the head. Lately I've known a few studio owners that are either selling their school or moving on to something different. The passion of dance will never leave them.
Yeah. Of course not.
It'll come in a different form. I feel like that's happened to me in my journey. Mm-hmm. Whether it's dancing, writing, speaking, I'm still a dancer because the blood is flowing through my veins. And
Yeah.
and I look at it just like you said, it's a gift that if you get that passion and then have the ability to pass it on,
Mhm.
Right.
that's it. Then your legacy, which both of you have, is that 2-3 generations down the road, they'll be teaching something that Brian Foley or Faye Foley originated all these years back, and it'll be your legacy continuing.
Mhm.
Well, I want to thank you for that. When I was in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, legacy was not a word that came into play for me because I was so busy working with Faye and doing the things that we love to do, building career, choreographing, directing, traveling, teaching, whatever. But I will say one thing, Ree. In our last 10 years of our journey together, we both feel the identity of legacy is very important, more important maybe to me than it is to Faye. Not that I want people to teach the way Brian Foley would teach it or say it, because believe me, nobody will do it your way, my way, Faye's way, Laura's way. They all do it their own way. But for me, the legacy is what we did to help dance teachers become better dancing teachers.
Because that's how you're going to reach thousands and tens of thousands of children. If you are
Right.
starting it there,
Yeah.
that's going to trickle out to so many all around the world, which you have.
You know,
Yeah.
Laura, when we started our teacher training school program, which was 2002 was our first TTS, Faye said, the only way we can help children become better is to help their teachers become better.
To know when it looks not
And
right.
that's when we
And
started.
to know what the words have to be when you talk to them.
And-
Words that they understand,
Yes.
right?
And by the way, Ree, these wisdoms of thought don't come just from Faye and I. They're there because we learned from Sherry Gold and Beverly Fretcher. They're there because we learned from Matt Maddox and Bob Fosse and Jerry Robbins. I mean, I was very blessed and very lucky to be in that group when I was dancing professionally and training, and then when I was teaching professionally, to be able to fall into the troop of the Golds and the Fletchers and all the people that made a difference in my life. I want teachers to remember me the way I remember them. Like Gladys Forrester, I'm a product of my dancing teacher.
Yeah.
I want people to remember me that way.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Listening to the two of you today reminds me of where I come from. I mean, some of the words that you say are the words I now preach.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad.
can't tell you how grateful I am. I'm going to say this is a little personal, but back last fall, somebody said to me, who's in your circle? How come you're not social with everybody out there? And I was thinking to myself, no, I have friends that I've had my entire life that have inspired me and are a part of my circle. And nobody even knows who's a part of that circle. It's not something I need to promote or say or be.
Right.
And just getting back to talking to you guys and realizing, holy cow, how lucky was I? And I'm about to say something that, we wouldn't do today, but being in the house in Randolph and you guys, cigarettes, big meals, lots of drinking, the laughs, and me looking at all of you and going, one day I'm going to grow up and be like that. And I want to say one more thing, because I say this to Fred Connect all the time, but I've changed my mind. I used to say someday I'm going to have a Fred Connect house, because he always had this huge house.
Yeah.
My mother was not that person, okay? And so I finally got a Fred Connect house about, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago at this point. And I really liked it. And then I did the retreat center, which like is even bigger than a Fred Connect house. Now all I want is a little ranch house with
Hey, you want to downgrade?
with one bathroom. I had no idea how much I didn't want what I thought I wanted.
I know. But you know what, Ree? But that is part of the journey, isn't it, my friend? Right? That is part of the journey. And Miss Laura, when you are my age and Faye's age, you will probably sit back and remember these kind of little get-togethers like on Coffee Talk and say, "Oh, I remember when," because that's exactly what the journeys are all about. I mean, it was very interesting. Rhea, I have to tell you the story because you know Faye. Like when Faye taught at Louise Burns and I was a student, I always remembered her as being that little sort of Miss Prim and Proper, not a hair out of place, go to the hairdresser 3 times a week and blah, 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 and all of that. So, but you got to love this. So we went to Halifax last weekend because I had a grandson who got married. So here we are going to visit. My daughter has a new place that they're building out on 30 acres, like
Brian has a daughter too. His first marriage.
Way out, right?
Way
right.
back.
Way out. In Nova Scotia somewhere. So here we are going through a foot of mud, tracking up, now you have to understand Faye Foley, right? So now we're going through all the mud. Faye's got the green rubber boots on up to her knees.
Up to here.
However, she's got the Louis Vuitton purse and all the jewelry on. And I'm thinking, only I can appreciate this picture.
Oh my God, there's no water in this house yet?
Oh,
it was not working
It
yet.
was so funny.
Oh
But you know
God.
what, Ree? That's all part of this wonderful journey,
But
isn't
they
it?
were so good to us.
It is.
Really good to us.
It's really good. I can remember when Fred Connect walked into his studio one time with a new $12,000 Rolex. And I thought to myself, oh, one of these days I'm going to have a Rolex. Well, I never got a $12,000 Rolex because the watch wasn't as important to me as my wife having more jewelry. So I never got a $12,000.
Smart man.
You know what? I will never forget that day when he walked in and he pulled his sleeve up and he showed me his Rolex. He said to me, I bought myself a Rolex. Dance teaching allowed him to do that.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes, and he needs to wear that Rolex proudly.
Yes.
And he does it. He still has it. Love him. I love him. I know it's all wonderful fun. But Ree, it's interesting in looking forward because I say to so many dancing teachers, don't build your success on what you did last year or the year before last or 10 years ago, because your life is not behind you. Your future's in front of you. The future of dance is in front of you. So even though we all know that very often old plus old equals new, we still have to realize that the future of dance is in front of us. So that's why I want to encourage all dance teachers. And Faye and I spend a lot of our time each year with dance teachers saying, in order to make a difference for the future, we must be more understanding of what those children's needs are in those so-called life lessons that we offer them for their future. Because it's not going to be the way it was in 2000 or 2010 or 1980 or 1990, Ree. What's important is what's going to happen in 2025 and 2026, right?
Now that Ryan is coming up now and he's starting to, show his wares, and we're trying to we still encourage him to not forget about what they need before they get it, right? And he's doing an excellent job. I'm so proud of him now.
I want to tell all the dancing teachers, especially those that have got generations of studio ownership within their family. I never ever thought I would say, Ree, I'd like to slow down and retire. But you and I have talked about this. I do want to slow down and retire. I don't think I ever want to stop, period. I don't want to travel. I'm not going to Asia anymore. I've done 14 trips to Hong Kong. So Ryan and Andrea did England, and Ryan and Andrea are going to Singapore. But dancing teachers, I know what it's like to try and let go. It is really, really hard to transfer the reins. And I don't mind admitting that. And I keep reminding myself every day that, and Laura, kudos to you, I remind myself every day, young blood is important.
Yeah.
Young blood is needed. I and Faye are not the future of dance. The people behind us are. The younger people coming up are the future of dance.
I agree 100%. And in our earlier conversation about what you were saying about the, I'll call it discipline in class, or actually having students, actually correcting students, I'm with you on the future is in front of us. But I sometimes feel like even us having the discussion that these kids are not as disciplined or don't take correction, that they're thinking we're old for even having that discussion.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. But you know, the platform of being the educator is to try and help kids understand in society that the corrections are for a purpose. Being the best you can be is for a purpose. The demand is because we love you, not because we're against you. You know, all of that. And you know what? And I know, Laura, you will agree with me, as most of the people I'm sure watching. We also need to educate our parents.
Yes.
That quality dance teaching, well, and it is that three-way partnership between the teacher, the parent, and the student.
100%.
And the student. So sometimes we need to take more opportunity to train our parents in better understanding what our mandates are, or what our rules and regulations are, or what our expectations are. So often you'll say to a student, I've told you to point your toe 5 times now, I'm not telling you anymore. And then all of a sudden you're a mean teacher. Or you go over and you put your hand under their chin and you lift their head up. And I said, how many times have I said, don't look down? You touched me. Now you're a mean teacher. That kind of thinking in our world we have to try and turn that around so our kids know, if I encourage you 5,500 times to lift your head, I will continue to tell you to do that, whether you like it or not. And if I, say to you, you're not whipping your head fast enough on that pirouette, or you're not on a straight leg on that pirouette, or whatever, I'm not telling you that because I need to hear it. I'm telling you that because you need to hear it. Laura, how many kids have said to you, you've said, your leg isn't straight in the Arabesque, and she says to you, it is so.
Oh, they don't
straight.
say that to me.
In a workshop, I said, wait a minute. I wouldn't tell you your leg was bent if your leg wasn't bent.
Right. Yeah. I had that when I was teaching at other people's studios. I got that. And I think being the teacher, but I think once I put on the teacher and studio owner hat, the kids, I think see me differently, if that makes sense. But I will say I have had to intervene in situations at my own studio with kids talking back. And when the teacher tells me, I'm like,
what?
I'm like, who? He said, what? And I'm like, and I know what you're saying is true. You wouldn't make it up as the teacher and the adult in the room, but you're kind of like taken aback by it. Like, wow, like, I don't think that would have happened 5 years ago. I know that didn't happen 5 years ago. It's just, like you're saying, it's that discipline is just different now. It is.
And without discipline,
and we're blaming
there's
it all
no
on
technique.
COVID. Every time I hear it, it's always the COVID, the COVID. Well, no, it's not just the COVID. It's us. It's your mothers. It's teachers. It's everything.
I try to encourage teachers not to use the word pandemic as an excuse anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting. I had a conversation with my upper level, like senior line, just at the start of the season. So a few weeks ago. And I said to them, I know that we had some hard times, but now we're over it. Now we're moving on.
Yep.
I'm tightening up on my attendance policy. I'm tightening up on, all the things that are in my handbook where I was a little lenient in the past.
Yep.
I said to them, buckle up, because this year we're back to business. And they're all kind of like, they all just looked at me. I said, you're not missing for a school function because you want to go there or want to go here. If it's mandatory, sure. But I said to them, I said, it's also my responsibility to teach you to become young adults. I said, and about time management. If you have a lot of work on Monday nights, well, then don't be going out on Sunday. You are supposed to be in my class on Monday night. Figure out, be better at managing your time. And I think that's not being told to them.
Yeah,
And
that
I don't
happened
know why.
years ago
Yep.
when we changed our senior class day. We did a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday.
Yes.
Mhm.
I am got somebody, believe it or not, in the middle of this coffee talk knocking on my door. I'm turning.
Go ahead.
You know, Laura, for all of the
But I
For-
was going to just say
yeah, go
something.
ahead.
You know,
Yeah.
I find that the younger teachers are holding back on the discipline
Yes.
because they're afraid to lose kids. And since, and I'm saying COVID and the pandemic and all this kind of stuff, they're afraid that they're not going to have as many clients as they used to. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons they hold back from saying, no, you can't do that, or stretch your feet, or get your back leg straight with any voice, because they feel they'll turn around and go somewhere where they're letting them go into any class they want to go to.
there
And
are
well, they want to. You want to walk into senior on our line? Sure, because we'll take you because we want the money or the extra body in the classes and all of that. Right.
Exactly.
and you know, Miss Laura, it's interesting because when you talk about dance generally as a studio owner, and Faye and I are not studio owners now, but as a studio owner, we all recognize how important that recreational program is at our studio. I'm going to use the term recreational because a lot of studios have comp, pre-comp, and rec. And I'm just going to call the recreational program the bigger population of the dancing school, of the dance studio. They are the most important students. And our younger teachers end up teaching them for two reasons. Number one, to become better teachers as they grow. That's why the future of dance is in our younger teachers, but also to give our younger teachers the opportunity of growing for themselves. The younger teacher's personal reward, not the financial reward, the personal reward is seeing those little recreational classes get better, not only for the studio, but also for them. But you know, students who take dance at the what I call recreational level once, twice, 3 times a week, maybe twice a week, those are affordable. That's an affordable investment.
Yes.
But I don't know what it is in America, but I can tell you in Canada, if you are a full-time competitive dancer and you want to be on the winning rostrum at any of the big major competitions out there, and our family runs a major competition, it becomes an unaffordable investment.
Yeah.
I know parents that are spending $15,000 a year for their daughter to dance, and they've got 2 daughters. That's $30K a year.
Yeah.
So how can you expect parents to love dance when they're spending that kind of money to give their children what their children love to do? So our job as dance teachers and studio owners is to create an atmosphere that there is as much performance opportunity, but not perhaps quite as expensive for them to have that performance opportunity or enjoy being on stage. That's where I think dance is going in the future. I don't think competitions will die. I think some competitions will die, but the turn to go to competitions will not die. But really, I don't know what it's like in the US, Laura, but I can tell you, competitive studios here, they spend in my estimation, far too much money, on that investment for very little payback. Because even though the student will remember what it was like going to competition and that becomes part of the life lesson, they'll never remember that high gold medal when they're married and having children.
Right.
They'll only remember the process to get it.
Correct. And the friendships and the connections and the confidence that was built, all of that, the lessons learned. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I really find, and I thought of this a lot of times through our teaching career, parents don't think that they can get anything professional out of dance. But if they were doing hockey or if they were doing soccer, or if they were doing volleyball
or basketball.
Yeah, all those things. People think that they're going to be the next. What's the hockey guy?
Star. Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky for South.
He's a Canadian star.
You know that their kid's going. I've got a grandson that's in hockey right now, and he's very, very good. And it's Danny's middle son. His name is oh my gosh, his name is Kane. Sorry, I forgot for that a second. He's doing very, very well, and the thoughts are he's going to go. Hopefully, he'll go on and do very, very well. But that's okay. Parents don't mind spending that $30,000.
You know, it's interesting.
$250 for a hockey stick.
It's interesting, Ree, because you've given lectures on this. I've given lectures on this. I'm sure Laura has talked about this. Most parents want their kids to get a quality education. Most parents want that BA or that MA. They want that graduate degree. And I'm not fighting that. I think that's very, very important in today's society. Quality education allows for quality job and quality income. But I get a little miffed when I feel that parents don't think that their son or daughter can be extremely successful in the dance industry world, not only as a performer, but also as a teacher or choreographer or judge or whatever the case may be. And you know, if you go to school, if you go to university and become a lawyer, you have no guarantee you're going to work for the best law firm in Boston. Mm-hmm. And if you graduate from a dance program, there's no guarantee that you're going to be a choreographer or a dancer. You are going to be what your heart wants you to be. Right. Doesn't matter what your education is. So I say to parents, you know, you can make a really good living in the dance industry. It doesn't have to be just as a dancing teacher, but parents don't realize that the formula that we have created from the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s has created a platform for more people to become successful in our industry. It's just a mandate that, again, we have to help our parents better understand. And Laura, that investment of 10 or 12 or 15,000 will be a payoff to the student who is successful. However, the student will never give you one thank you for what you've given them to be successful. It's the twice a weeker who will never forget you and will always be grateful for what you gave them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ree, you're muted.
Bingo.
Bingo.
It took a long time for that bingo, but that was bingo. What I'm sitting here thinking is, you know what? Just sit back and let these guys talk, because you're so right. And I'm hoping that this next generation that we're talking about, like you said, it's different for them. There's so many more opportunities than there were in the past. Yep. But don't let go of the history of how we got here and why we got here.
Exactly. Because we're talking from experience as well as from our heart. Like you talk from your heart with experience. But Miss Laura, you yourself know that one of the greatest treasures that we can give our younger teachers and our assistants who want to be teachers, and being a teacher is a bit of a God-given gift. You know, I say, you know, a teacher teaches, a good teacher demonstrates, a great teacher motivates. And that motivation is a gift that you've been blessed with. But we need all of those young teachers and all the studios to understand that they are the future of dance education in our countries. And that is an important responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
you know, I say, and Laura, you've got a fairly large senior competitive program. And I say to seniors and all the studios, you know, when you're a senior in your dancing school, your job is to help maintain good standard, because all of those 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, they're looking up to you. They want to wear what you wear. They want to smell the perfume you wear. They want to dance like you dance. They want to be like you. They look up to you. And so therefore, as a senior dancer, your responsibility is to help create bigger and better standards for your studio. And Ree, if those seniors don't want that responsibility, unfortunately, they've worked hard, they've earned it, and now they own it. So therefore, if they're not disciplined, your 7-year-olds won't be disciplined. But if they're hardworking seniors who set standards and love those little kids and behave in the dressing room and work hard in class, and those little eyes are peeping through the door, watching them saying, I want to be like her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what helps dance studios maintain and create bigger and better standards for the future.
Yeah.
Our advanced dancers, our seniors are part of that.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, we're maybe 15 minutes overtime here.
Oh, no, already?
No. I want to tell
No,
you.
it's all good. It's so good.
Oh, good. This was great. Maybe we do it again and we just hang out and talk about teaching philosophy, because
I would love that. And I feel like our audience would really love that too, Ray. Yeah.
Well, we'll be available anytime, Ree. I just want you to know how grateful we are to have the opportunity to share some time with you. That's really meaningful for Faye and I.
So nice to meet you, Laura. And
Same. Thank you so much for coming on today.
I mean, my kids always still remember when they were taking classes and looking like they want to go to US and learn how to become the best they could be.
Yep.
So, as I close out, you guys, you just said the word gratitude. You have no idea how much gratitude I have for you, the memories we have. You brought back just seeing my mother with you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and thank you for being a part of my circle and the whole Dansfield circle. I love you guys.
Thank you, Ree. We love you guys
love you too. We really do. It's so
Thank you, Laura.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
nice to meet you, Laura. Really, really.
I hope to see you again.
What is the name of your school?
Libra Dance Studio, like the zodiac sign, Libra. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Great.
Mr. Ree,